Thanks for joining us at audiotubes.com for another instructional video. This one is featuring tubes manufactured by Genalex in the United Kingdom. The most popular probably being the Gold Lion series. Genalex was a company that was actually, as this very old box says, made for the General Electric Company Limited of England by its associated company, the M.O. Valve Company Limited, which was short for Marconi Osram. And they actually made tubes that were listed as Marconi brand, which is the Marconi Phone Company Ltd. But M.O. Valve's most famous output was the Genalex. And some of the most famous Genalex are, of course, the Gold Lion series, which come in a gold, red, and white box like this. This one being the famous B759, which is actually a 12AX7. The Gold Lion series were extensively tested. They came with an actual test report paper which listed in great detail all of the testing that was done to the tube. The tubes were packed in a sealed plastic bag. This one's been opened for testing, and they frequently had a Gold Lion on the glass, the word Genalex across the bottom, and then, of course, the letters, in this case, B759. This one, it's a little bit hard to see, but the gold was printed right on the glass, very large, and it was actually in gold ink, which tended to fade over the years. Later versions were produced in yellow ink, and even later versions from after the late 1980s were produced in Russia. This one is a sealed one. If I can get it out of here, I'll show it to you. They came in a container that looks rather like a nose cone of a rocket. And this is how they come when they've never been opened. Sealed in the plastic bag with the test results wrapped around the tube. These are very good, rather warm, full-bodied sounding versions of the 12AX7. And lately have commanded a very high price. Here's another Gold Lion. The box is rather ratty, but this one's a Genalex labeled U52, but it also is a Gold Lion. This is a version of the 5U4G. It has the typical British ST shape, which is a more tapered body with the shoulders closer to the top. And as you can see here, it has the Gold Lion around the glass, holding a little square that says U52, and then in gold script across this side it says Gold Lion, and then the Genalex decal made in England at the bottom. Another very good example of a rectifier tube. They made tubes for others. For example, this one was made by Genalex, but it's made for EMI-tron or Ematron. But it has the white square, this one being a KT66, and it's also labeled KT66 in the white square. This one is a gray glass version of the KT66, which was made late 50s, early 1960s. Some examples of some of the old Genalex boxes. This one is just Genalex gray, white, and blue. This is a Z729. Which I will show you another version here. This one is called G.E.C. valve. This is a later box, but it's also the same tube, the Z759, which is a 6267 or EF86. And this tube comes wrapped in paper, and it has the white box also, which lists it as a Z759. More importantly, it has the tiny Z down in this corner. That indicates the Hammersmith factory, which is a area just outside of London where these tubes were made. And this one has the newer label. Instead of saying Genalex, it says G.E.C. Here's another example of the B759. It is a mesh plate version. I'm sorry, this is a Z729. This one is a mesh plate version. Later version, as it says G.E.C. on the label and made in England. Let's see. Next, we have an A2900. This one actually did not come in a Genalex box. It came in a quality brand box, which was a rebrander. However, when we open it up, it's a G.E.C. labeled valve. And it also has A2900, which is an equivalent of the 12AT7, and the small white Z in the corner of the box, which is the Hammersmith London factory. Believe it or not, they made it for other brands like Mullard. So this is a KT77, which is an equivalent of an EL34. And it even has the Mullard, the IEC label. But here again is the white box with the factory code Z showing the Hammersmith factory. And this is the version, very rare version called the KT77. And this one being made for Mullard. And another rectifier tube, which is equivalent to a 6X4. This one is a Gold Lion. This one's been opened, but they also supplied it with the test results. And this one has, again, the red decal across the bottom and the Gold Lion label on the glass. And finally, KT88 examples. Let's see, I've got that one over here. Here's the paperwork from the 1950s when Genalex announced the KT88. High power audio output tube, $4.50 each. Boy, have times changed. Here's an example of the, I'm sorry, I got the wrong one. Here's the example of the KT88. A little bit larger. This one's clear glass, but once again, the white square with the letter Z indicating the Hammersmith factory. And here's a price list. The Genalex Gold Lions were imported by British Industries Corporation. So if you see a British Industries Corporation on a box, it is a Genalex. Some of the prices, Z729 back then were $2.99 each. KT66s were $3.50 or $7.95 a pair. KT88s were $4.50 or $11 a pair. Times certainly have changed. We want to thank you for watching, and hopefully this will help you spot a very rare Genalex or Marconi Osram tube. And give us a call. We'd like to help you locate some of these rare tubes for your tube collection. 847-496-4546 or audiotubes.com on the web. Thank you.